Hey there guys, welcome back to Rickard's journey through Skyrim. You currently find us in the Hafingar region of Skyrim. We're just westerly south of Solitude, just on our way to deliver a letter to Captain Aldis for Jarl Idgrod's Thane called Gorm. He is slightly concerned about her visions, and in that worry, he wants us to deliver a letter to the captain of the guard of Solitude, probably because they're probably old friends. I'm actually planning to spend quite a bit of time in Solitude, which is why I've set up a campsite just slightly south of the statue of Meridia. I'm also planning on buying a horse, and perhaps where better to do that than Solitude. But I realise a lot of the places that the missions in Solitude will send us are mostly up in the hills of this region. It is buggeringly cold. I've been up there a few times just to search it out, and it is gnawing. It's gnawing up there, and it makes me numb in about just a few minutes. So I need to rethink Rickard's equipment at some point. The light armor is good, we're getting protection from it, but apparently the way that Bethesda have scripted it is that simply the better the protection, the better the warmth. The gear that I'm using is not actually Dawnguard's. This is not actually Dawnguard armor. This is from a mod called Ranger and Paladin. So when I go smithing, I can see a lot of things that I probably shouldn't usually be able to craft, but they're all in different places. So some of it is in iron, some of it is in steel. So it's not Dawnguard level protection, if you understand my meaning. It's probably just shy better than leather in actual fact. I do have another piece of gear I would like to actually use. I have made it exquisite as well, but it's not as best protection, but it does kind of look awesome if I was to rethink the gauntlets and the boots. So we'll see. Plus I also need to disenchant some items. I might enchant what I'm actually wearing, just to, you know, make it just a little bit better. There you go. So there are some shops that we haven't been in yet, but our first stop will be Captain Aldis, and we've not been over there at all. We've not been in the next district. We'll check in on Beyrand in a minute, and let's go. There's Captain Aldis, but let's steal some arrows. You ever get tired of buying them? Just come here. Hey, Captain Aldis.
Yes?
I have a letter for you.
For me? From whom?
From Gorm in Morthal.
Well now, that is something. Hand it over, please. Oh no. I hadn't heard from Gorm for a while, so I'd hoped he'd given up his little scheme. The last time we discussed this issue was before the Standable War broke out. Things were different then. Now what he's asking, it's just impossible. Even if it worked, the questions and accusations it would cause, well, I'll take it under advisement. Thank you. Keep my men in your prayers. They'll need them if they don't shape up.
I never read the letter because Gorm asked. He asked me not to read it. Now I'm wishing I did, because how on earth would anyone have known?
Someday soon you will all see battle.
I think... Oh, what do we think it was about? Was he trying... Like he did say, don't disrespect the Jarl. You know what's better for you. You'll know what's better. Was he trying to shift her off the... Was he trying to shift her off the throne? For someone perhaps more able? Oh, I don't know. I wish I could. I wish I could know. Oh well, moving on. I actually have quite a bit of stuff to sell to Beyrand. And a lot of jewellery to sell to his wife, actually. So, come here.
Do I get to keep it? Ah, just kidding.
So let's see, I gave you major archery. I gave you a lot of jewellery, actually. I actually want these because I might need them. I want to disenchant that. We'll sell that. You can keep that. I'll take the hunting bow because you have an elven bow. That I want to disenchant. So where can I disenchant stuff here? I've actually forgotten where I can disenchant stuff in Solitude. I must be able to disenchant stuff somewhere.
Let's go. Seems there's no way. Take a look.
Okay, so I've just made some of my items just a little bit better. My ranger bow is now flawless. There's no point in me making anything well, if you remember, I can't remember if it's on. I did find a glass bow, but I tried to improve it, and because I don't have the glass perk, and I probably won't have the glass perk for quite a while, there's no point in me improving it and using it, while my ranger bow, which is actually quite fast and actually quite nice to use, is dealing a ton more damage every single time. So yeah, I'm sticking with this for the meantime because there's no point in me using any better. Because for the longevity. Now you'll notice I made Belrand a new silver sword, which is oddly better than my mercenary sword. That's only because I ran out of steel, and Beyrand didn't have any to sell. So I can't make my mercenary sword any better. So that's one thing. I found an enchanter's table in Castle Dower, which means I have to slightly overhear some war business. I've come to the Blue Palace to speak to their court mage in buying some soul gems, particularly that of the grand kind. Wait here. Can't have you barking in front of the Jarl. Oh, the court's in meeting.
I swear to you, unnatural magics are coming from that cave. There are strange noises and lights. We need someone to investigate.
Then we will immediately send out a legion to scour the cave and secure the town. Hafingar's people will always be safe under my
Your
rule.
Eminence, my scrying has suggested nothing in the area. Dragon Bridge is under Imperial control. This is likely superstitious nonsense.
Perhaps a more tempered reaction might be called for?
Oh, yes, of course, you were right. Falk, tell Captain Aldous I said to assign a few extra soldiers to Dragonbridge.
Thank you, Jarl Elisif. What about the cave?
I will have someone take care of the cave as well, Varnius. You can rest easy. You're dismissed.
I've got what I came for. I better get back to Dragonbridge.
Aren't you worried about the cave?
I've done my part. Dragonbridge will have extra guards. Falk Firebeard will find a way to take care of the cave.
Okay.
All right, then.
Interesting business. So that's Jarl Elisif, I assume, but I want to speak to this woman.
If I needed something from you, you would know it.
What's your problem? Oh. What have you got for sale?
Take a look.
She doesn't sound particularly very nice. Staff of Mage Light. Useful, but Scrolls, Firestorm, no. Spells, anything of the undead range, particularly in turning them. Soul trapping, strangulation, ugh. Stone flesh, and turn lesser undead. I already have turn lesser. Oh, you only have greater, one of them. Okay, I'll take the greater, and I'll take 2 commons. Anything I have that you're interested in? I think I have some spell tomes. Conjure Familiar. Healing, I have that one. Familiar, Flame Action Orc. And I need those. What's your problem anyway?
Nothing. I'm busy, and I don't like being bothered unless I'm expecting something from you. Oh, don't give me that look. Fine, I suppose I can find some menial task to set your mind on. We have something of a vampire problem. Bodies have been found with blood drained. I know of a den nearby you can wipe out as a precaution.
I'll see what I can
I
do.
don't expect you to be capable of even that.
I'm more capable than I look, sister. And I've seen those eyes before. How long have you been court wizard?
I was a member of the court during the reign of Torig's father. It was Torig who appointed me to the position.
You look very young.
I like to think I've aged well. I'm certainly wiser than I once was, and I know when one should speak, and when one should hold their tongue.
Fair enough. Are you worried about the petitioner said about the cave?
Not really. Varnius Junius is a fool. I'm sure nothing will come of it. I suppose if you're truly interested, you could talk to Falk. He's the better safe than sorry type.
He sounds like my kind of guy.
Hunters. More clever than you, definitely.
Say that one more time. I thought so.
Do you have business with the court?
I hear you're looking for some help with Wolfskull Cave.
You mean the Dragon Bridge issue? I'll be honest with you. I was planning to let that go. Varnius is a bit jumpy at the best of times. There have been reports of weird happenings near Wolfskull Cave. Travelers disappearing, odd lights. I suspect wild animals, or perhaps bandits.
It's probably a bandit camp.
It's worth our time with the war going on.
I've dealt with
But
worse.
if you want to clear out the cave, I'll make sure you're repaid for your work.
Why is it called Wolfskull Cave?
The cave has a bad history. Long ago, Potema the Wolf Queen used it for necromantic rituals. That's where it got the name. That was over 500 years ago. Nothing much down there now, but everyone's always convinced the cave is haunted.
That does tend to happen.
Feel free to return to me with questions. The Blue Palace is an open forum.
I'll think about it. I think you are an open forum, Falk, but I don't think everyone else is. Okie dokie. I'm going to take these soul gems to follow me. I'm going to take these gems to Castle Dower. And I'm going to put enchantments on my mercenary sword and my bow, just to make them a little bit more interesting. I think my bow is already doing the maximum damage. Yeah, I thought I saw a potion on the wall. What have we got here? Minor healing? I would have laughed if that was considered stealing. So that must be the Bard's College. We must check in there at some point, because everyone is telling me that I should. But first, let's see, where do they want us to go? So we have Wolfskull Cave. Oh, so that's not far from Statue of Meridia, so I can get to my camp I can rest up, and then I can head into the wilderness and kill some people, because that's what everybody wants us to do. There's a lot of killing to be done. Vampires, definitely. And I would suspect that Wolfskull Cave is just bandits.
Heard they're reforming the Dawn Guard. Vampire hunters or something in the old fort near Riften.
Okay, so we're just heading back to the camp now. Hello, who are you? Oh, that must be Varnius walking back to Dragonbridge. Walking back to the camp now. I've put a shock enchantment on my bow and absorb health on the sword. Absorb health obviously makes enough sense as it is. We're gonna just sit down, we're gonna rest for about an hour or two, eat something, and then we're gonna do some night hunting. Now the funniest thing is that sometimes Miko will go up to Belrond, and Belrond will respond and just simply say, "Stupid dog." Oh, we all gonna sit down? Hey, I like this. We feel like a family. First of all, I just want to read the Black Arrow Volume 2. I've read the first one. Black Arrow Part 2 by Gorgic Gwyn. On the last dinner in my employ at the palace, the Duchess quite surprisingly had invited the Mayor of Moliva and Master Hiomast himself among her other guests. The servants' gossip was manic. The Mayor had been there before, albeit very irregularly, but Hiomast's presence was unthinkable. What could she mean by such a conciliatory gesture? The dinner itself progressed along with perfect if slightly cool civility among all parties. Hiomast and the Duchess were both very quiet. The Mayor tried to engage the group in a discussion of Emperor Pelagius IV's new son and heir, Uriel, but it failed to spark much interest. Lady Villia, elderly but much more vivacious than her sister the Duchess, led most of the talk about crime and scandal in Eldenroot. I have been encouraging her to move out to the country, away from all that unpleasantness. For years now, the Duchess said, meeting the eyes of the Mayor. We've been discussing more recently the possibility of her building a palace on Moliva Hill, but there's so little space there, as you know. Fortunately, we've come to a discovery. There is a wide field just a few days west on the edge of the river, ideally suited. It sounds perfect, the Mayor smiled, and turned to Lady Villia. When will your ladyship begin building? The very day you move your village to the site, replied the Duchess of Woda. The Mayor turned to her to see if she was joking. She obviously was not. Think of how much more commerce you could bring to your village if you were close to the river, said Lady Villia, joyfully. And Master Hiomast's students could have easier access to his fine school. Everyone would benefit. I know it would. I know it would put my sister's heart to ease if there was less trespassing and poaching on her lands. There is no poaching or trespassing on your lands now, your grace, frowned Hiomast. You do not own the jungle, nor will you. The villagers may be persuaded to leave, but that I don't know. But my school will stay where it is. The dinner party never really recovered, happily. Hiomast and the Mayor excused themselves, and my services, such as they were not needed in the drawing room. Where the group went to have their drinks, there was no laughter to be heard through the walls that evening. The next day, even though there was a dinner planned for the evening, I left on my usual walk to Moliva. Before I had even reached the drawbridge, the guard held me back. "Where are you going, Gorgic?" "Not to the village, are you?" "Why not?" He pointed to the plume of smoke in the distance. "A fire broke out very early this morning, and it's still going. Apparently it started at the Master Hiomath's school. It looks like the work of some travelling brigands." "Blessed Stendar," I cried. "Are the students alive?" "No one knows, but it'd be a miracle if any survived. It was late and most everyone was asleep. I know they already found the Master's body, or what was left of it, and they also found that girl, your friend, Prolissa. I spent a day in a state of shock. It seemed inconceivable what my instinct told me, that the two noble old ladies, Lady Villia and the Duchess of Woda, had arranged for a village and a school that irritated them to be reduced to ashes at dinner. They mentioned the fire in Moliva, only very briefly, as it were not news at all. But I did see the Duchess smile for the first time ever. It was a smile I will never forget until the day I die. The next morning I had resolved to go to the village and see if I could be of any assistance to the survivors. I was passing through the servants' hall to the ground foyer when I heard the sound of a group of people ahead. The guards and most of the servants were there, pointing at the portrait of the Duchess that hung in the centre of the hall. There was a single black bolt of ebony piercing the painting right at the Duchess's heart. I recognised it at once. It was one of Missun Akin's arrows. I had seen it in his quiver. "Forged," he said, "in the bowels of Dagoth-ur itself." My first reaction was relief. The Dunmer who had been kind enough to give me a ride to the palace had survived. My second reaction was echoed by all the present in the hall. How had the vandal gotten past the guards, the gate, the moat, and the massive iron door? The Duchess, arriving shortly after I, was clearly furious, though she was too well bred to show it. But by raising her web-thin eyebrows, she wasted no time in assigning all her servants to new duties, to keep the palace grounds guarded at all times. We were given regular shifts and precise, narrow patrols. The next morning, despite all precautions, there was another black arrow piercing the Duchess's portrait. So it continued for weeks. The Duchess saw to it that at least one person was always present in the foyer, but somehow the arrow always found its way to her painting, whenever the guards' eyes were momentarily averted. A complex series of signals was devised, so each patrol could report any sound or disturbances they encountered during their vigil. At first, the Duchess arranged them so her castellan would receive record of any disturbances during the day, and the chief of the guard during the night. But when she found that she could not sleep, she made certain that the information came to her directly. The atmosphere in the palace had shifted from a gloomy to nightmarish. A snake would slither across the moat, and suddenly her grace would be tearing through the east wing to investigate. A strong gust of wind ruffling the leaves on the few trees in the lawn was a similar emergency. An unfortunate lone traveller on the road in front of the palace, a completely innocent man, as it turned out, brought such a violent reaction that he must have thought that he had stumbled on a war in a way he had. And every morning there was a new arrow in front of the hall mocking her. I was given the terrible assignment of guarding the portrait for a few hours in the early morning, not wanting to be the one to discover the arrow. I seated myself in a chair opposite, never letting my eyes move away, even for a second. I don't know if you've had the experience of watching one object so relentlessly, but it has a strange effect. All other senses vanish. That was why I was particularly startled when the Duchess rushed into the room, blurring the blowing the gulf for me between her and the portrait herself. "There's something moving behind the tree across the road from the gate," she roared, pushing me aside and fumbling with her key in the gold lock. She was shaking with madness and excitement, and the key did not seem to want to go in. I reached out to help her, but the Duchess was already kneeling, her eye through the keyhole, to be certain that the key went through. It was precisely in that second that the arrow arrived, but this one never made it as far as the portrait. I actually met Mr. Akin years later, while I was in Morrowind, to entertain some nobles. He was impressed that I had risen from being a humble domestic servant to being a bard for some renown. He himself had returned to the Ashlands, and like his old master Hiamast, was retired to the simple life of teaching and hunting. I told him that I had heard that Lady Villia had decided not to leave the city, and that the village of Moliva, which is now Modiva here, pretty sure it was Moliva before, had been rebuilt. He was happy to hear that, but could not find a way to ask him what I really wanted to know. I felt like a fool just wondering if what I thought were true, that he had been behind Prolissa's tree across the road from the gate every morning that summer, firing an arrow through the gate, across the lawn, across the moat, through the keyhole, and into a portrait of the Duchess of Woda until he struck the Duchess herself. It was clearly an impossibility I chose not to ask. As we left one another that day, and he was waving goodbye, he said, "I am pleased to see that you are doing so well, my friend. I am happy you moved that chair." That's a little bit funny. His last words were, "I'm happy you moved from your position."
Yes?
Nope, I want to sleep for an hour or two. We're not going to be fully rested, but rested enough. We're going to be doing some night hunting, which is something I've not done in a while, simply because of what tends to happen. Kill the leader of Pine Moon Cave and the man who cried wolf. There you go, we're going to eat up as well. Let's have goat roast. There's the Aurora. Little bit of an autumn touch. The roads of Solitude are better lit than the roads in Whiterun. Plus, it's not all too late. Just trying to make sure that I don't miss the road up the mountain. It's going to get deathly cold, but the useful thing is that the places that we are going to are not too wide apart. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep an eagle eye out. When I was walking the road of Whiterun and I was ambushed by the zombies, is something that happened all too quickly. Oh, Jesus Christ. That made me jump in real life. Stupid bloody elf. You didn't hear me say that.
I don't care. Leave me alone.
I don't have time for this foolishness. Now come along quietly and...
More Redguard.
Brother, I think she's telling the truth.
I'm not going anywhere. Now back off before I do something fast.
She doesn't have a skull.
There we go, so Wolf Skull Cave is just here. Looks like we have an Imperial patrol. The air is treacherously cold. I'm not firing into that. There's no way I can get a clean shot. It's a skeleton. Really, it would take me one hit. Oh, snowberries. Oh, it was a skeleton outside the cave we've come to look at. Already, I don't think it's bandits. Wait here. Come on, Belrond. Clearly, there's something quite strange going on here. What do you think, Belrond? Necromancy senses are tingling all over for this one. Nothing there. Yep, I can see you. Can I take that torch? I think I'm gonna need them. I think they might help me sneak a little bit better. Clearly not that way. Who do we have here? Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, I know. Oh boy. Oh, this is a lot of frost. Potions. Resist cold. And frost. So I believe the game marks them as two separate things. I need that scourge to go away. And that absorb health is bloody useful. That's not my action orc. Or was it the Scourge's action orc? Probably the Scourge's. Elves Ear. Spell Tome of Fury. Where'd the body of the Scourge go? Honed Draugr War Axe. I don't think we're alone. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Something literally just pushed me. Oh, it's a skeleton. Oh! That's not very nice. I'm stuck and can't move. They healed? Oh, I don't want to fall. Not that far. Ugh. You got him? Oh, why can't I move? Can I move now? I'm peckish. Let's see. What's happened? I am very cold. Move 20% slower. Fatigue and drained. No other reason. But I feel quite heavy. Come on. Move your wolf. There we go. Let's try and take it a little bit sneakier. Oh yeah. It's definitely not bandits. Definitely not bandits. That's a bit too expensive for bandits. Oh, die. Oh, what's that? Moonstone. Well, clearly the mages here are not here for the ore. I think they're here for the soul history of this place.
Hear our call and awaken. We summon Potema. We summon Potema. Long have you slept the dreamless sleep of death, Potema. No longer. Hear us, Wolf Queen. We summon you. We summon Potema.
Is someone there?
Not to hit. Damn you.
Oh, seriously? Sorry, buddy.
Suddenly I feel much better.
Well, I did accidentally shoot you. That's happening a lot. So we need to stop this summoning. We know the story of Potema the Wolf Queen. She was a very powerful necromancer.
Plunder these ruins at your peril, friend. The spirits of the dead won't look kindly upon them.
They're not going to look kindly upon you, mate. Guilty by association. I know there's something unpleasant waiting for me here. Go, Belrond. Go. Yeah, I got him before you. Just the one. Okay. We're doing this. We're okay. Let's get the sneak on him. No, because he moved. Now he's coming this way. Let's keep moving. Or the novice. Well, we don't know if this is a novice or apprentice. Okay, there we go, that's what we want. One hit kills. I'll take those all day. Oh, that's a white. Belrond, do you think? There we go. See? We have an understanding. This works. Uh-oh. That's an adept. Adepts are a problem. Come on then. You can't hit me. You can hit me. You just did. Oop. Oh, thank God for that block. The one part I'm not looking forward to are the big group of mages up here. You know what? We've done well. Let's quick save. I'm not doing all that again. Just don't even. Oh, I didn't want... Did I pick up that battle axe? Yes, I did.
Something is wrong. There is an intruder.
Yeah, right, there is an intruder. He's just killed his entire way up to you. Let's put away the arrows because they're annoying me.
We're bound to find some gold. Out of respect, let's leave a few coins for the dead.
I don't think you'll have much respect here, buddy. Any shouts that can help me here? With my enchanted weapons, Elemental Fury is no good. I think only...
What was that?
This is not going to be enjoyable. Yeah, I know, you first, Belrin. Oh god, that's a lot of magic. Potions. Resist frost. Resist magic and fire, just in case. And first of all, Chronicle. Yeah, I know, I called it Chronicle soon. Let's cut these necromancers.
It's nothing.
Oh, finish. One more. What's going on here? Okay. Read the refugees. We'll take that. You know what? That was actually pretty good teamwork. High five, Belrin. No? Okay.